With your look inside Husker Wrestling, here is your host, Ridge Lovett, on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome to Takedown Tuesday with Husker Wrestling on 93.7 The Ticket. I'm your host, Ridge Lovett. First, I'd like to tell you about our sponsor, Stevens & Smith Construction. Takedown Tuesday on 93.7 The Ticket is sponsored by Stevens & Smith Construction. Stevens & Smith Construction is an employee-owned company with nearly 250 employees with over 2,000 years of service combined. They lead the industry as a full-service concrete company specializing in residential and commercial foundations and flat work. Stevens & Smith has locations in Lincoln, Omaha, and Kansas City. You can learn more today at stevenssmith.com. If you've got any comments or questions, you can be a part of the show by texting our Sutter Heyman Jewelers text line at 402-464-5685 or by leaving a comment on our Facebook, X, or YouTube stream. All right, so we're back with another week of Takedown Tuesday. I got my boy Dom T going here with me, and the Bulgaria Nightmare 2016 Rio Olympian for Bulgaria and the head of the best wrestler, Georgi Ivanov. What's up, guys?
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, absolutely.
How's it going?
It's been going good. Yeah, so as you guys know, we recently opened up a gym in Lincoln with the best wrestler at Lincoln Christian, and we're starting week 4 now, and so far it's been pretty good. Been having a lot of fun. Dom hasn't missed a practice yet. He's been in there every day helping me out with the little guys and with the older kids, so it's been good so far. What do you think?
I think it's been real good, yeah. Just trying to stay consistent with these kids, making sure that we are trying to do our best as they are. So just taking it one day at a time, making sure that they're getting all the correct technique that they need to kind of succeed in their career path.
Just really focusing on that early development stuff, right? Because we have some kids that have been wrestling. It's their first day. And then we have other kids that have been wrestling since they were 4 years old, and now they're up in their 15, 16, 17 range. So, it's sometimes it's a little tough structuring the practices where we're providing what the kids who've been wrestling for a while, what they need, and getting that technique, that up higher level stuff, while still providing what the newer kids need, trying to supplement them, teach them the basics, while, there's a balance in there. And it's something that we've been working to figure out. We're both pretty new to the coaching thing outside of camps. And with camps, it's a little bit different because, you're there for one day, you get to go in, you show some moves like, hey, this is stuff that I really like to do. And then you get to show some of the fun ones like, hey, I really like to do this when, maybe you're wrestling a kid who's not as good and you kind of get to put on a show a little bit, try out the fun moves, right? But, we got the head of the ship in the building with me today, Georgie.
No, I appreciate you guys. You've been awesome. I hear a lot of positive feedback. And to the Lincoln community, we're so blessed to have you guys and in the room with all the kids and finally giving back to the youth. Wrestling is crazy. It's and like anything in life, it's a journey of you being self-centered and growing and trying to do the best that you can with what you've got and just be a continuous learner. And then you transition into giving back at some point where, you've achieved some type of a pinnacle or you haven't, and your career comes to somewhat of an end. You always transition to giving back, and it's very, very fulfilling to impact the youth. And that's what happened to me. And that's what got me on this journey with the best wrestler. But it's exciting to have you guys give back. And actually, you're still competing, which is amazing because it will make you even better coaches better athletes being a coach, right? If you're trying to teach the kids and you have to really focus on what am I teaching them? How am I explaining it? Make sure they're understanding it, simplifying it. A lot of times you have these aha moments in your head where it's like, crap, this is how I've been doing this whole time. And it actually help you become a better athlete. And hopefully you guys are just getting started with your careers and the pinnacle is not achieved yet.
Yeah, absolutely. And we kind of see that same thing like in school where people were saying like with something in math where it's like,
right,
hey, if you can teach this to a 5-year-old, then you understand it.
Absolutely.
Right. So it's like with the wrestling stuff, a lot of it, people ask me like, so like, what are you doing when you do that? And in my head, I'm thinking like, I really don't know. Like, I just do it. Like, it's just the way that I wrestle. I don't know. But being able to coach and having to break it down to 5-year-olds or to 15-year-olds and, it really starts you to help understand what you're doing. And then, like you were just saying, making you a better wrestler as a result of it, because it's the things that like I'm pointing out to them, like, hey, you need to make sure that you do this, this, and this. These 3 things are super important when you're doing this. Like when you're shooting your firemen's, arm has to be tight, elbow pinches, head's tight, everything's tight right here. When you finish, make sure you pop your head out so you can get your back points. So then when I do those moves in my wrestling, it's like I'm reinforcing those points when I'm teaching it to them, and then it just becomes second nature in my wrestling. So that was a really good point. I really like that.
That's awesome.
But
and so that to that point though, like you, as you know, I've shared with you some of our coaches' education material. You know, I sat down and have to break everything down in our club to make sure that our coaches are on the same page, and that's made me really, really reconsider and rethink, how are we doing this? What's the structure look like? How can we maximize our coaches? Not because you guys don't know how to wrestle or don't know how to coach. You guys are great. You're some of the best at what you do, which is amazing. You know, we want to surround ourselves with the best people that we can. But so it's not that. It's more so, what is the structure, right? What is the core? What are the moves? What are we teaching these kids? What does the practice format look like, to make sure that it's consistent across the board at all of our locations? And the kids feel like they're being maximized, not just thrown in there and we're teaching camp style moves. Like any wrestler can do that. Like you said, any wrestler can come and show random moves. But how do you systemize it where you're layering it and kids are getting developed one after the other? And they may not seem like it makes sense for them at the moment. To us, we've choreographed this where it makes perfect sense for them in their style and their development. And then once they're in high school or beyond, it starts clicking and all the right habits come out and they are able to maximize themselves and their potential. So you guys being coaches is awesome. You're dictating a lot of these kids' lives and their futures, and you don't know it yet probably, but you're impacting them in a way that they've never imagined. So it's exciting journey.
it is exciting. And I got a little story time. So I've actually known Georgie a long time. So all the way back to when I was in Idaho, 2016, 17-ish, I made the Greco World Team and got to go to Athens, Greece. And Georgie's dad, Coach Delchev, actually coached me over there. And I moved down to Wendell, Idaho, which is a tiny little town in the middle of nowhere, to train at DTA, Delchev Trained Academy. Yep. Shout out my boy Dan Mauger. He let me stay down there with him, and I dedicated that entire summer to training. And a bunch of credit to your dad. He was 2 workouts a day, every single day for the whole summer, right? Wrestling is his life. And, he could see the passion that we had for it with me and Case, Dan's son, Case Mauger. He was on the world team as well. And bringing in partners. Like we had one kid, Brennan Chwana-Peeble, flew in from Seattle to train with Case every single day. Braden Dickinson, he was about 45 minutes away, but he was at practice with me. Those kids gave up their summers to help us train and prepare for the world championships. And, so I've known them for a long time. And that was when we were training for that, you were going through your stuff with getting ready for the Olympics, doing all that stuff. So,
that was awesome. I have some pictures from back at that time, and we we look like babies. I mean, it's crazy.
I definitely looked like a baby. I didn't have no facial hair. I had the long curly hair, which sadly just got cut off the other day. But
I look sharp.
I'm rocking with it. I like it. I like the new haircut.
Where were you at 2016, 17, 15?
2016. I'm about
4th grade.
Yeah, I was young. Couldn't even tell you what I was doing. Probably playing Fortnite on my Xbox or something.
That's awesome.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
But yeah, so I've known these guys for a long time, and it just so happened that we got reconnected out here in Nebraska a couple years ago when I was redshirt and I was helping out at the club out in Elkhorn.
Yes.
Right. Locations in Elkhorn and Council Bluffs. Got the one in Lincoln now. So locally, right, we're starting to get a presence. We're starting to, help elevate the wrestling in Lincoln, right? We have great clubs. Hawks does well. NWTC with Coach Tervel does a great job, right? So now we have us. So the Lincoln area is starting to grow with the wrestling stuff. The college program, doing what we did last year, really putting a bunch of eyes on the sport. So, it's all to grow the sport and
absolutely
really start to elevate the Lincoln area in wrestling, right? Because I've said it multiple times. The whole time that I've been in college, there's only been one kid from Lincoln on the team with me. Granted, Keith is doing well. He's another Lincoln kid. Keith Smith.
So Keith won Fargo with us and then went to Division II school, and now he's at what is he at now? At with Coach Terry Pack, and he just won a national title for him last year. So Keith's doing awesome. He's from Lincoln, yeah.
Keith's doing well. Zay Alfred was the other one, but it was like when I was thinking about it was like we have Lincoln kids training in Omaha. Like we need more in Lincoln, and now we have 3 clubs. All 3 of them are doing well. And, we just see the numbers keep growing. And I've said it again, I've said this before too, with the girls, the girls' numbers in the club are growing each week. And that's something that I love to see with girls wrestling, the second fastest growing sport in America. So it's just.
What's first?
Pickleball.
Really?
Pickleball. Pickleball is the fastest growing sport in America. Do you play?
No.
No?
You got to get out there and play. It's pretty fun.
I'm nasty at pickleball.
Really? Oh, we got to do it.
It's kind of like tennis, but you got a little wooden paddle. Oh, yeah. It's a good time. It's a good time. I enjoy, especially back in high school. No one wanted to see me on the pickleball courts in high school. I was really like that. You and Abby be playing?
Me and Abby play, yeah, but
we gonna have to run that too. Is me and Hallie versus y'all two?
Yeah, I win every time against Abby.
Okay, yeah, against Abby. You don't want to see me though. You don't want to see me. Yeah, but
you guys are not competitive at all, huh?
Never.
No.
Never.
Yeah, wrestling. No.
I don't care about winning. I don't care. No, that's not true. I try to win at everything I do.
Absolutely.
But yeah. So the college guys. We had our first workout yesterday. Finally got back into it a little bit. The RTC guys, me, Caleb Smith, Liam Cronin, Peyton Robb, James Green, Christian Lance. We were all on the mats yesterday. The college guys were in there doing some conditioning, strength work stuff, and we were talking about it a couple weeks ago, just getting the body ready for the wrestling season. It's about to be 8 months of grinding, cutting weight, wrestling, and, it's tough. And you can speak to that.
I think this is the best time of year. You get kind of bored in the summertime right around this time. A little methodical. You just kind of go through the motions a little bit. So it's nice to kind of get your head down and just get serious for a little bit before the season really comes. So I think this is a great time of year. Right.
Getting ready, preparing to hit that preseason grind. But we got on the mat today. First time on the mat. Finally got to put hands on my boy Nickade, tough freshman from California. He was top 3 in his weight last year in high school, 2-time California state champ. So I got to roll around with him a little bit. I know that P-Rob was in there with Chance Lamer, Caleb Smith with Abdi, Nebraska boy. So, it's cool. The RTC guys getting to go in there. The older guys getting to wrestle around with the freshmen. Ferrari's in the room. Ferrari's back in Nebraska, big red Ferrari driving down the street.
It's kind of weird to look at it because my freshman year, we were kind of lopsided. We had a lot of little guys and not so many big guys. It was just me and Silas at 197, then Harley and Matt Moore at 285. Now we have 5 heavyweights and 3 197-pounders. So it's nice to be able to change up partners every single day and not kind of me and Silas the first year I was here wrestled every day for the first 2-3 months. So it's nice to just be able to change it up every once in a while.
And I didn't even really realize the discrepancy there until we were doing sprints at the end of practice. Yeah. They were 25 and 33 on the line, 41, 49 on the line. And then they were just going 2 weight classes at a time. And then the last group, they were having to go in different groups. I was like, dang, 97 heavyweight. There's a bunch of dudes right there.
Yeah.
Right. Awesome. And that, like you were just saying, that's a great thing to have because we have more small guys with the RTC, with Liam and Caleb with the little guys, then me and P-Rob with that middle group, but then and James, but then we only have C-Lance for the big group. But we have a good number of kids on the team that are bigger. So practice partners isn't going to be a problem.
What's your prediction for this year? How many All-Americans?
Shoot, I think I don't see any reason why we won't have 10.
That's awesome.
I absolutely think that we can have 10 All-Americans.
I hope you're right. That's awesome.
But with wrestling, you never know. You don't cash the check before you write it.
Right.
But
it's fun to talk about it, though.
It is fun to talk about. We have a good team. They're competitive. A bunch of them are returners, and the ones that aren't, they just saw how it's done.
Right.
They just watched us go through it. They watched the whole season, whether they were practice partners, traveling with us, or just kids that have been on the team for a couple of years. They've seen the progression
last year. Yeah,
100%. It was good, and the end of it was better than anything we could have hoped for. Right? It seemed like at nationals nothing could go wrong. Everything we were doing was working. We had 2 kids lose their first match, battle all the way back through the backside, find their way onto the podium.
That's awesome.
Caleb lost his second match, same thing, battled all the way back. So the one athlete on our team who didn't place, right, Lenny, lost in the blood round. So he's still got a whole bunch of team points, finding bonus points, putting people on their backs, getting falls, getting techs. And that's the people on the backside are what's going to win team trophies, right? The champs can take you a ways. They can put you in position to get there. But without the guys coming through the backside of the bracket, it's just it doesn't work out. And we saw that with Penn State this year, right? They were saying Penn State's going to have this many champs, this many in the finals. And they weren't even close to that number. But it seemed like every single kid on their team who lost battled back and took third.
Yeah.
Right. And that's a big thing that we talk about in our room is when stuff doesn't go right, it's the next best thing. right? Obviously, everybody wants to be a national champ, but if you lose early in that tournament or you don't make the finals, next best thing is third place.
Absolutely.
Right?
And you can't be selfish. Some athletes are like, oh, I wanted to win it so bad, and then I lost, so now I'm out. Well, it's like, time out. You have a whole team behind you that's relying on you, and you need to be a true leader, and you need to step up and be a team player, and second best thing, right? Every point matters at nationals, so it's NCAA tournament is fun. So
it is fun. It's crazy.
Absolutely.
I'm excited to be able to go back this year and watch it as a fan.
Yes.
Right? Because it's different being there as a competitor because there's so much good wrestling that's happening out there. But when you're in the tunnels, you really don't see any of it.
It's not the same.
It's like you hear the crowd roar, then the kids come back into the tunnel, and you're sitting there like, oh, something crazy just happened.
Yeah.
Either somebody came back and got a win or someone good got knocked off, and you just kind of try to look and by the body language, like, did he win? Did he lose?
Right.
Right? Like the biggest one of those for me was when who was it? It was the Oregon State kid beat David Carr, like second match. David Carr was the 1 seed, undefeated on the year, already a national champ, and loses second match to, I can't remember who it was. His brother beat CJ in the blood round. Oh my goodness. Well, he's an assistant coach at Oregon State now. I can't believe I'm spacing on his name. Yeah, but it's okay. But it was the same thing. They come running back, and it was just like he came running back, jumping up and down, hooping and hollering, and David was kind of hanging his head a little bit. And I was like, oh, my gosh, no way. Right? So then we're all pulling out our phones trying to watch the match, see what happened. But I'm excited to get to go back and watch these guys compete. And I'm still number one on my calendar before that is definitely national duels. National duels is going to be awesome. You need to find your way onto this team so you can get down in my way.
Yeah.
I'm trying to.
That's the goal, right?
Absolutely.
That's the goal.
Right, but I know that your brother's going to be there. Me and him have already been talking about it. We need to get our hotel room soon, figure out some flights, whether we're going to fly, drive down there. But yeah, Tulsa, Oklahoma. Can't remember the exact date. Mid-November, but national duels is going to be insane. It's something that they've done in the past, but just we haven't really done it. They kind of went away from it with the national duels thing. But
yes, I wrestled at that. It was a UNI back a million years ago.
Yeah, in the Unidome.
Yeah.
But yeah, they kind of went away from it. I don't know what the reasoning was behind that. But every year we have the national championships, right? That's tournament style, but we don't have a dual tournament. Right. So it's like we finally get that back, and I think it's going to be a fantastic event. It's at the awesome. BOK Center in Tulsa on November 15th and 16th. And BOK, they held NCAAs, was it 3 years ago? They hosted NCAAs. It's a good venue, lots of food around. They did a good job at NCAA, so I'm assuming that national duels is gonna be fantastic. And we're gonna I think there's gonna be all 12 teams are ranked in the top 15, I believe, for sure in the top 20, but I think the 12 teams are all in the top 15. Right? We're gonna be missing Penn State, missing Iowa, but apart from that, all the heavy hitters are gonna be there. We're gonna be there. Oklahoma State, Missouri, UNI, Lehigh.
Is Nebraska number one seed?
I'm assuming that will be the 1 seed, either the 1 or the 2, depending on how the rankings come out. But they did a lot. They did it based off of last year's national tournament. So like the top 12 teams get automatic bids.
That's awesome.
And then I think they have like 4 wild cards that they do a lottery based on like the number of All-Americans you had is the number of balls you get in the lottery. Right. And with some of the teams like Lehigh, with Ryan Crookham, who was out last year, who has wins over world champ, NCAA champ Vito Aruja, and then Luke Stanich coming off of a U20 gold this past weekend. And Lehigh's tough. I was just out there a month ago wrestling with Stanich, and that kid's going to be tough. Lehigh has some dogs.
He's already tough.
He's already tough.
World champ.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I went out there and was wrestling with him. I was like, this kid's good. And he wrestled 125 the year before that.
Crazy.
It is crazy, right? Now he's going to be a 141 pounder. But, you know, there's going to be tough teams out there. Excited for it. Wish Penn State and Iowa were going to be there so we could really get the top of the top in that dual team tournament.
What weight's he going to wrestle now?
Stannis is going to be a 41 pounder.
Okay.
So he's bumping
it's
up
almost
2
as
weights.
bad as me. When I wrestled 119 my senior year, redshirted, then I was at 157.
Yeah. I went the other way.
Big jump.
My senior year of high school, I wrestled 145. Freshman year of college, wrestled 133. Was cutting all kinds.
That was so I was on the Iowa national team at the time. McDonough did that same thing for Iowa. He wrestled at Fargo, I think, 145, then cut down to 125.
He was a career 25 pounder.
Right, but you should have seen him. His body changed. He lost some, some muscle, and he did not look like he was the same person. And now he seems to be maintaining it, which is very interesting.
Yeah, I know Matt pretty well.
Yeah,
he's come out and done a couple camps in North Idaho, and a couple of them. Once I was in college, we were doing them together. We were both clinicians out there, so we got to wrestle around a little bit. Come on now, Spurs by 90. You have to put that work on a Hawkeye. Any opportunity I can get. But no, McDonough's a good dude. But yeah, like the body changes, the weight changes once you get to college because it's a different game. And I was talking with my girlfriend about this last night when we were having dinner, about kids who are really good and it just doesn't work out in college. Why do you think that is? So
I don't know, man.
I find so much success in high school and it seems like they're unstoppable, and they get to college and they're just not the same person.
I don't know why. College is a different animal. It's not just like wrestling one match and being successful, in my opinion. It's how do you manage the season? How do you manage injury prevention? How do you manage your weight cut? How do you manage your, everything goes into it. You need to be professional. You need to be disciplined. You're away from home, so no one's holding you accountable. You got to be your own coach, your own mentor, your own, all of it's on your own. I mean, you have coaches to help you, but ultimately you're in charge. So it's a big lifestyle change, I think, for a lot of kids. And mentally, that season is so long. You got to find joy in the journey. Otherwise, it just wears you out. I mean, it's not for everyone. For me personally, I found it challenging to transition. I grew up in Bulgaria my whole life, or until I was 16, and came to the U.S. I only had one high school season, and that was my only time to adapt to folk style and to what season is in the U.S. There is no seasons in Bulgaria. You wrestle all year round, and you have maybe 5 tournaments a year. So you don't cut weight as much. You focus more on training and development, less on live wrestling, less on traveling, less on, that, all that. You don't have 8 matches a day or 7 matches a day. You don't have that. You don't have a tournament that's 3 days long, right? All the international tournaments are pretty much one day. So it was a big change for me that way going into folk style. And also, I think another thing that I see with kids is you go from high school to college, and now it's a 7-minute match, 3 minutes first period. That's not easy. That's a long time. And then you have writing time. Okay, you get someone like you on top. That's no fun for a freshman coming in. You know what I mean? So like them having to adjust to bottom wrestling is tough. And so there's a lot of different variables. And the problem is, if they've had success in high school, they come to college and they face some of these obstacles. Now self-doubt start creeping in. Right, they're doubting everything. They're like, "Well, am I going to make it? Am I that good?" So now it's a mental warfare, as I like to call it, and that some people never make it out on the other side. Absolutely. I've seen it with some kids on our team, seen it with kids from other teams, but you're still going through it. What do you think? What were the biggest changes coming out of high school for you?
Just the support system. Like, I came from Belleville East. Me and Adam were the best 2 guys to come out of there in the past 7, 8, 9 years. So you go from every single person that's coming to Nebraska was the main guy in their room. They were getting the most attention, this and that. And now you come to Nebraska and you're just another guy. You're not going to get any extra attention. Like, you need to be able to push yourself forward in your career if that's what you want to do. Doing the extra workout, stuff like that. Your coach isn't going to be in your ear all the time telling you need to do this, this, and this. Mm-hmm. You got to do it. Mm-hmm. So it's a lot on you. The coaches do want to support you and do everything they can for you, but at some point you have to realize that you're a grown man and you got to do what you got to do for you to get where you want to be.
Absolutely.
With you finding success, in both high school and college, what was your mindset going through the whole thing, and what's your experience?
A big part of it for me was just being like, Coach Snyder says it all the time. He was like, sometimes stuff's not going to go right. You just have to be a bad dude. Right. That was a big part of it for me. It was like, with all the cutting weight stuff, it was like, I knew that what I was doing was hard. I was cutting a whole bunch of weight. Still trying to do all my classes. I thought I wanted to be a doctor, so I was on the pre-med track, taking chemistry, biology, calculus. So the class load was tough. The weight cut was tough. And then it was just kind of like, I'm doing all this hard stuff. Like, what's a wrestling match, right? I'm balancing my social life, my wrestling life, academics, cutting all this weight. And it's like, everything I do is hard. Like, obviously wrestling is going to be tough, but it's nothing harder than anything that I'm going through right now. So it's kind of like, I don't know. But we can get more into that after the break. More Takedown Tuesday on 937 The Ticket coming at you next.
At Valentino's, we're on a mission for tradition. On every slice, for every bite. Golden baked crust, cooked to perfection every time. Savory sweet sauce that's made from our own secret recipe. Loaded with the perfect amount of fresh toppings and melty mozzarella cheese. It's the tradition that Nebraskans have come to love. From game day to every day. Valentino's. Taste the tradition.
Give your furnace a break with the help of Heartland of Nebraska Windows. Heartland of Nebraska Windows offers a free estimate, full window replacements, all vinyl triple pane windows, and a lifetime warranty of everything, while still keeping their prices affordable. Sounds too good to be true, right? Heartland of Nebraska Windows is locally and family owned with their own team of installers. Give the window experts at Heartland of Nebraska Windows a call today at 402-430-3852 or visit them online at heartlandofnebraskawindows.com. Elevate your home or business with the help of Heartland of Nebraska Windows today.
A1 Automotive's second location is now open at 5110 State Hill Drive, just off of Yankee Hill Road. The new location continues to specialize in all makes and models and provides personalized service as they have for 15 years. With the school year here, A1 Automotive reminds you that college students get 10% off any service, and they offer free tire repair with a valid college ID. Schedule your appointment today at a1autolincoln.com and visit their new location in South Lincoln at 5110 State Hill Drive or downtown at 11th and L.
Have you been injured in an accident and don't know where to turn? You need an attorney you can trust to handle your case with professionalism and compassion. The attorneys at Liberty Law Group understand that a call to an attorney is a call for help. If you've been injured, we want to help you. Liberty Law's experienced attorneys are committed to the pursuit of justice for those injured. Call Liberty Law and find out how we can help you get the compensation you deserve. Call 877-42-LIBERTY. Call the trial attorneys you can trust. 877-42-LIBERTY.
Schweizo Construction is now hiring for skilled craftsmen, steel erectors, concrete workers, and general laborers. Schweizo Construction offers great benefits like premium wages, health and dental insurance, paid holidays and vacation, 401k with company match, life insurance, and disability insurance. They pride themselves on a legacy of 40 years built on integrity and trust. Joining their team means becoming part of a family that values hard work, dedication, and mutual respect. Apply today at schweizo.com. That's schwisow.com.
Since 1983, Fast Mike's Roll-Offs has been a trusted and reliable company in Lincoln and the surrounding areas. Fast Mike's handles all sides of construction projects, home renovations, or big cleanouts. With the perfect size dumpster to fit your needs, Fast Mike's Roll-Offs will haul it all. With same-day delivery in Lincoln, affordable rates, and top-notch service, Fast Mike's Roll-Offs make cleanup quick and easy. Call now at 402-450-6828 or visit us online at fastmikesrolloffs.com. Book your dumpster today. Fast Mike's Roll-Offs, cleanup made simple.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills Global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
Breaking here at the news desk. When you stack Allo Internet, DirecTV, and mobile, you can lock in your price for 2 years. Sources are confirming that when you stack Allo Internet, DirecTV, and mobile, your monthly price drops and you're locked in for 2 years. That's fiber fast internet, premium streaming TV, and reliable nationwide mobile coverage. And this just in, you must switch by Labor Day to secure that locked-in pricing for 2 years. Switch, stack, and save at allofiber.com/stack.
Bring new life to metal treasures with Kaiser Blasting and Coatings. From railings and fences to outdoor furniture and unique antiques, their expert team removes years of rust and weathering, then finishes each piece with a lasting powder coat. Trusted by industries across the region, now local homeowners and businesses can experience the same professional care. Visit KaiserBlasting.com or call 402-421-3559 to request your quote. Restore, protect, and make your metal shine like never before with the help of Kaiser Blasting and Coatings.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Back to Takedown Tuesday on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back to Takedown Tuesday on 93.7 The Ticket with Husker Wrestling. I'm Ridge Lovett. Got Dom Tebow, Georgie Ivanov in here with me. And so we were talking about college wrestling, adapting from high school into the college life, right? Yeah. The weight cut stuff is tough, but my freshman year, I really don't know. A lot of the stuff, I really didn't care how I felt. And that was a big part of it for me, is realizing, like, once I was able to realize, like, nobody else cares. If you go out there and you wrestle hurt, your opponent does not care.
They're happy about it.
Absolutely. If you're cutting a whole bunch of weight, nobody cares. Nobody feels bad for you because everybody's doing it. Yep. Everyone on the team's cutting weight. Everyone on the team, no one in wrestling is ever 100%, right? It's always like, dang, like I jam my finger. I think it might be broke. My knees are killing me. My shoulder hurts. I busted my eye open. I have stitches, right? So it's like there's always all these little things compounding. So no one's ever at 100%. And I think a big part of it for me, like finding my success in high school and college, was just telling myself, one, that I'm the best. Nobody can beat me. If I go out there and I wrestle my match and do the stuff that I'm supposed to do and wrestle the way that I know I can wrestle, nobody here can hang with me. And the other one was it's just a wrestling match, right? I feel like a lot of people build it up to be more than it is. And like people ask me about nationals, were you nervous when you were in the NCAA finals? I was like, not really. Like I'd been there before. It didn't work out. I got my butt kicked on ESPN and woke up the next day and nothing bad happened. The next day came and went. It was like, okay, like I lost in the finals and nothing bad happened. So what are we looking at here? Then we went to the night at the lead and I won athlete of the year. So it was like everyone around me was so happy that I took second. And in my head, I was like, I failed. But then at the end of the day, it's just a wrestling match. I've lost a bunch of wrestling matches. I started wrestling when I was 3, lost a whole bunch then, right? And I'd lose matches all the way up. So it was like, it's just a wrestling match. And yeah, with the NCAAs, it is on ESPN, right? It is the pinnacle of folk style wrestling, but I've wrestled in hundreds of tournaments. And just being able to compartmentalize it and think about it like it's just another tournament, right? Some of the kids I've been like Bo Bartlett at Penn State, me and Bo wrestled like 10 times. And it's like, he's one of the favorites to win at 41. They're like, yep, he's either, we got him picked to win it, picked to be in the finals. However they were doing their stuff. And it's like, I've wrestled this kid my whole life. I've been watching Brock Hardy wrestle since I was 10, right? So it's like these kids that I've known and been around in the sport are all still at the same tournament.
Yeah, it seems like you're basically confirming what I studied after I was done with the Olympics. I went through this, just a brief story. I went through this thing my whole life, and it was a lifelong mission of mine to become an Olympian, right? And at some points, more often than not, it seemed impossible. And when I finally happened to achieve it, like you, I started wrestling when I was 3. My dad was my coach my whole life, right? 3, 4 years old. I started following him. He was still competing. They had me when they were 21, my parents, they're the same age. And my dad was competing until he was 35, 36. So I was 14 years old watching him compete. It's crazy. And by that time, he was starting to get a little out of shape and slower. But it was fun to watch him and record him and just coach him a little bit on the side. But with that being said, you go through this journey, and whether you achieve your goal of being an Olympic champion for me or not, right, you come to a stop. And for me, it was, and a lot of professional athletes get to that position where it's depressing. Because I've identified myself as a wrestler my whole life. Like, hey, I'm a wrestler. This is what I do. And now I was no longer a wrestler. So you have to find an identity shift. You have to figure out what's next for you. How do you go forward from here, and find value in yourself, self-worth in something outside of you being a wrestler. And so it was a very big life lesson for me. I started reading a bunch of books. I started figuring out personal development. I got mentors, business coaches, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Try to figure out what's next for me and how can I excel in life outside of wrestling. And so I'm telling you this because now going back to it, one of the things that I learned was, we one of the few things, if not the only thing that we control in our lives is our thoughts. We have all these thoughts, and a lot of them are based on programming that you go through growing up, or your environment that you grew up in, or even genetic from thousands of years ago based in your DNA, right? So you come up with these thoughts that are supposed to protect you and keep you warm and fuzzy and feeling good, but the reality is they're not serving you. So all these thoughts that were coming up to make me depressed, I had to figure out, how do I turn this into them serving me? And so what I learned, the little trick is, you get some type of a thought and then you turn it into, okay, what does that mean? So I have a choice. I'm on crossroads and I have a choice to make. What's the meaning behind this, or how can I make it more meaningful that is serving me? And so most athletes have a hard time figuring that out. What you're telling me is, anytime you were feeling stressed, or people are trying to build up a hype around just a wrestling match, or you're not identifying yourself only as being a wrestler, right? You're doing well in school, you're doing good with your friends, your family loves you, your support system loves you, et cetera, and it's just a match. And so you were able to find a meaning that is serving you, and you were able to then maximize your wrestling career in college, which is fascinating. I feel like a lot of athletes struggle with that because they get themselves in a rut and they don't know how to get out of it. And so that's just one thing that I want to share with the audience here is, if you guys can learn anything from Ridge, I think this is literally the takeaway: is give yourself a positive meaning that's serving you and go all in on it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think that's such a huge point that he just made right there, because getting stuck in one of those ruts where you're just angry at the world all the time, it doesn't do anything for you. You just keep getting repetitively angry.
Some people never get out of it.
Me and Ridge used to live together, and I myself have been in a couple of these ruts, and me and Ridge have butted heads a little bit and got into it, and he's kind of helped me get out of it a little bit, kind of smile a little bit, realize
he put legs in on you, and
like, hey, maybe everything isn't so bad. You are at the University of Nebraska doing what you love. It may be hard right now, but looking back at it, you're having a great time.
It could be a lot worse. You're at the University of Nebraska, and the staff and the facilities and everything here, like, these people would do anything for you. So it could be worse.
Could be worse.
You could go to Iowa. No, I'm playing. But yeah, that. Like we were just saying, and I preach that a lot when I'm doing the camps and stuff. Like, I always try to end my camps with like a Q&A. And what you were saying earlier about being a professional, I think that is the biggest difference in high school to college, right? In high school, you still get to be a kid. If you want to stay up all night playing video games, if you want to go,
you can get away with it.
Absolutely, you can get away with it. But then what you were saying, when you come to Nebraska, now you're just another guy on the team. At your school, you were number one. You were the best kid on your team. You were this, you were that, and now you come into Nebraska, and it's like we have 4 or 5 kids who are undefeated in high school, right? So it's like, okay, well, that was my number one accolade. Well, now it doesn't mean a lot. But I was on the world team. Well, so was he. So was he. So was he. He won a medal. He won a medal. He won a medal. It's like, okay, well, I won 4 state titles. Well, so did all of them, right? So then when you get here, it's like, How am I going to find a way to break into this lineup? How am I going to find a way to make myself special? And it all comes down to being a professional, controlling your diet, controlling your lifestyle, recovery, sleep, all that stuff really starts to come into effect, right? Because when you watch little kids play, when I'm at wrestling practice and they're playing sharks and minnows, or they're playing games before practice starts, they do not get tired. They do not get tired. The little kids can play forever, right? If I'm playing the games with them, I play for 5, 6, 7 minutes, and I'm like, oh my goodness, right? You kind of lose that little kid energy, and now being a professional starts, right? Tyler Weeda, our trainer, is the best in the business, talking about the recovery stuff, and any questions that we have about anything related to the health of our bodies, mind, and anything with wrestling, outside of wrestling. Weeda's the man. I'm definitely going to try to get him on the show here in the next couple weeks, because he has some stuff that he's just a different dude. One of the toughest people I've ever met, right? His daily workout stuff competes ours. He's not on the mat, but he does stuff. He's up before any of us are up. He gets his workout in before he comes in and helps us out.
Leads by example.
100%. Every single day, he has the guys in there doing the rehab workouts, and you don't want to get hurt. Those workouts are hard.
They are not fun.
They are not fun at all. Your brother and Weeda, they're real good buddies.
Yeah.
Tore his ACL twice. So he spent a lot of time with Weeda, but he's the best in the game. Jordan Burroughs won the world championships with a broken ankle And that was Weeda getting him back. And, you know, it all comes back to being a professional, handling everything outside of the sport. So when you come into the room, you can train and perform stress-free, right? Handling everything else on the outside so you can really just focus on wrestling. And then you start getting the Brock Hardys coming in, right? Reminding you wrestling is fun. I started wrestling when I was 3. I fell in love with it when I was little. And sometimes when you start getting up into the rooms, like my freshman year, I did not really think that wrestling was fun. I was cutting a bunch of weight. School was hard. I had Chad Red kicking my butt every single day, jumping in with Coach Snyder. He's kicking my butt every single day. And it just kind of like, you know, like what you were just saying earlier, that kind of like you're in a rut. And then I lost 5 matches in a row. My first 5 matches as a starter, I lost.
Wow.
Right. So it's like I was pretty down on myself. I didn't know, like, I hadn't had that happen to me in years. I can't remember the last time I lost 5 matches in a row.
I'll just snap out of that.
I just trying to be tough, right?
Coach Snyder's advice.
Mm-hmm. Coach Snyder was always in my ear, right? Because once you break into the lineup, you do get more attention. The coaches are trying to pick you up. Like, I just lost 5 matches straight. I'm the starter. It's like, hey, what are we gonna do to help this kid turn it around? Like, well, he's cutting a whole bunch of weight, so he's not going to be particularly happy, right? But Coach Snyder would always tell me, he's like, you're the toughest SOB in every room we walk into. Nobody in here is tougher than you. Nobody in here is doing what you're doing.
You bought in.
And I bought into it.
And you believe them.
Mm-hmm.
And then you guys go to war together.
Then we go to war together, right?
I think that's the biggest thing, sorry to interrupt you, is kids that are like one toe, you know, one leg in, one leg out, or they're not bought in and they don't have a real connection with coaches. That can never happen. You know, that's why I'm not a big fan of dropping ins, or like I'm not a big fan of club hopping, right? You will never have that type of relationship with the coach. And therefore, when things get difficult, you're much, much more likely, especially you're not even in college yet. We're talking about little kids club. You're much more likely to quit wrestling because you burnt out, you know, quote unquote, or you, whatever other excuse that you have, you know, busy with school, or you are now passionate about another sport, or whatever excuse you want to give yourself. The reality is you don't have a meaningful connection with the mentor that is with a coach that is willing to go the distance with you, like what you're saying Coach Snyder did for you, and change that mindset for you and get, you know, turn it around and make you get the most out of yourself and maximize your wrestling career. I think that's huge.
Absolutely. Right. Like, when I think back to it, when I think of like my biggest mentors, people who had the biggest impact on my life, number 1 would be my dad, who was my first coach. Yeah. Number 2 would be Coach Abel, right? He coached me from when I was 7 to 14, and even after that when I was in high school. But once I was in high school, I was primarily with the high school coaches, and then it would be Coach Reardon, right, who was my head high school coach, right? When I think back to those 3 when I was younger, it's like they were all fully bought into me, and I was fully bought into them, right? Obviously, my dad's going to be bought into me. He's my dad. He didn't really have a choice, but he didn't have to coach me. Right. He didn't have to put me in wrestling. He didn't have to spend all the money that he did so I could chase my goals, trying to excel at the sport that I loved. Right. And anything that we wanted to do, he was behind us 100%. And then Abel, I wasn't his kid, and he traveled all over the country with me. Granted, his kids were on the team with us and they were going to those tournaments, but anything that I needed, Coach Abel was there. Right. And then it was the same thing once we got into high school, going to these big tournaments. Right. My high school team was really tough. 3-time team state champs. We set the all-time state scoring record, but we were a public school in North Idaho. Right. So we were trying to go to some of these tournaments that, you know, a lot of kids on the team might not have found success, but my coaches were trying to push me. They were trying to get me beat. And they were like, when he's struggling, right, we know that the rest of the team is going to start getting better. So, you know, those 3 really, just like we were just saying, like, you need that mentor who you believe in and they believe in you. And that's where real growth can start to be made. And yeah, I think that, you know, we're starting to see some of that. We're starting to develop trust with the kids on the team, right? We've been with them less than a month, and some of the kids have really started to come out of their shell, right? Last week we were talking about our boy Hendrick. I think the first 3 weeks at practice, I don't know if he said a word. That's awesome. It was all just head nods, head shakes. Yes.
And it takes time and consistency, right? If they're not showing up to practice, you're not going to develop that connection. So it's a two-way street there.
Well, I also think we just have a little bit longer until they start to trust us that we're not going to kill them while we're having them wrestle.
I know a little bit of conditioning at the end is tough. I know you didn't want to run a sprint afterwards, but I mean,
It's okay.
Shoot,
you'll make it.
Mm-hmm. We were doing conditioning today in the room. We were doing piggyback carries. We were running sprints, right? And it's like they're like, oh my gosh, I don't want to do it. But it's like, this is never going to go away. This is what the highest level of the sport that you're doing. This is what they're doing. Mm-hmm. Why would you not emulate it?
Absolutely.
Right? I was in the room every day with Jordan Burroughs for 2 years. And I'm seeing he's doing the exact same thing that I'm doing, but I'm not going to trust Coach Manning.
Right, exactly.
Make that make sense. Right. So we'll get into a little bit more of that right after the break. More Takedown Tuesday coming at you next.
Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports or for yourself in your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And it's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
Have you been injured in an accident and don't know where to turn? You need an attorney you can trust to handle your case with professionalism and compassion. The attorneys at Liberty Law Group understand that a call to an attorney is a call for help. If you've been injured, we want to help you. Liberty Law's experienced attorneys are committed to the pursuit of justice for those injured. Call Liberty Law and find out how we can help you get the compensation you deserve. Call 877-42-LIBERTY. Call the trial attorneys you can trust. 877-42-LIBERTY.
Make bill paying a breeze with Text to Pay. LES texts you 1 week before your bill's due date. Just reply to the text to pay. It's that easy. Log into your account at les.com to sign up today.
Saturday. Eagle Raceway is open for a full season of dirt track racing action every Saturday night. Don't miss the epic battles on the high banks of Eagle Raceway each Saturday between the Nebraska Septic Sprint Cars, Nebraska Lottery Modifieds, Avid Realty Sport Mods, Valentino's Hobby Stocks, and A1 Iron Stock Cars. Let's go racing. Eagle Raceway, just 10 miles east of Lincoln on O Street. Check out the full schedule at eagleraceway.com.
This is James Harrell with NP Dodge Real Estate. When I became a licensed realtor, I wanted a brokerage that would help me grow in my new career. I found that in Lincoln First Realty. When Lincoln First was acquired by NP Dodge, the training and support I received only got better. I love knowing I have the power of the NP Dodge brand behind me. I would recommend NP Dodge to new agents looking to jumpstart their real estate career and to current agents who want to take their business to the next level.
Expand your career with NP Dodge. Call Eric at 402-434-2222. When opportunity knocks, you don't want to miss the call. Hamilton Business Technologies makes communication easy and efficient using customized technology, all while putting people first. Whether you're working from the office, at home, or on the go, Hamilton Business Technologies equips your business with the right tools for smooth, professional call handling. Hamilton Business Technologies. Real people, real technology solutions. Learn more at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
Are you a skilled mechanic looking for your next opportunity? Nebco is hiring. They're looking for experienced mechanics to join our family-owned team. They offer competitive wages, great benefits, service trucks, OEM-level diagnostic software, and career growth opportunities. Apply today at nebco.com. Positions include lead and A-level mechanics for the Nebco shop. Learn more at nebco.com. If you're driven and ready to grow with a company that's been around since 1908, apply today at nebco.com.
When you were a kid, clubs were cool. Robotics club and space club and stuff like that. But what do adults get? Book clubs and quilting clubs? Nah, forget that. How about margarita clubs and old-fashioned clubs? Get to Upside Bar and Lounge for the best clubs in town. Try all 10 varieties of Upside margaritas or old-fashions and take home a free souvenir glass. Grab the whole crew and pair it with taco night on Mondays or whiskey Wednesdays. Upside Bar and Lounge at 29th and Pine Lake.
MHC isn't new, just a new name. Moe's Moving is now Moe's Home and Commercial. Whether moving across town or across the state, MHC Moving has you covered. Specializing in home, apartment, assisted, and independent living moves. MHC can also handle your commercial moves as well. There's never fees on trucks, stairs, elevators, long carry, and last-minute booking, and no trip or fuel charges. Also no upcharge on weekends, and they do offer payment plans through PayPal. Call MHC Moving today at 402-853-7167 or go to mhcmoving.com.
Rico here with HIS Auto Care at 70th and Van Dorn, letting you know HIS is a great place to bring your vehicle for service. With superior service bumper to bumper, we'll treat your vehicle like it's your mother's. Doesn't get any better than that. So call 402-488-8934 and HIS Auto will make you glad you did. 5% off, mention this ad, and for sure your mother will be proud you called. 402-488-8934, HIS Auto Care, 70th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
At Valentino's, we're on a mission for tradition. On every slice, for every bite. Golden baked crust, cooked to perfection every time. Savory sweet sauce that's made from our own secret recipe. Loaded with the perfect amount of fresh toppings and melty mozzarella cheese. It's the tradition that Nebraskans have come to love. From game day to every day. Valentino's. Taste the tradition.
Back to Takedown Tuesday on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back to Takedown Tuesday with Husker Wrestling on 93.7 The Ticket. I'm your host, Ridge Lovett. With me today, Dom Tebow, Georgie Ivanov. And so we were just talking a little bit about being able to trust your mentors. And, you know, the last thing I said was I was in the room every day with Jordan Burroughs, and he was doing the exact same thing that we were doing, right? Going through the same practices. His were structured a little bit more towards freestyle. So there were some differences in the technique, but with the work, we were doing the same work, right? And I was saying, like, how can I have doubt in my coaching staff when they are coaching the greatest American wrestler to ever live, right? And so that buy-in, just like we were talking about earlier, that buy-in is key. Developing that trust is key, right? And you could finally see it where the whole team was bought in. This last year with Nebraska at Nationals, the whole team bought into a culture at the beginning of the year. And we had the same problem last summer that we had this summer. And it was we had to kick some guys out of the room because all they wanted to do was wrestle. They were in the room every day. And Manny was like, hey, like, you guys need to take a break. You guys need to take a break.
It's a good problem to have.
It's a great problem to have, right? And it's exciting that we're having that problem again. Like a couple of the guys last week, they were like, hey, like, get out of the room. If you're worn down, if you're tired, Coach Cervello was like, if you need to go home and play video games all week, go home and play video games. You guys have been in the room grinding every single day, right? We had Omar and LJ going to the World Championships. Omar brought home a bronze medal, beat Satiev's nephew in the bronze medal match, which is insane when you really think about it. Satiev is one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, period. And Omar beat his nephew, awesome. Right? So we were getting these guys ready to go wrestle the best in the world. And the guys on the team were in there doing that same training every single day all summer. So it's really cool to see. And, you know, we're bought into the process. Manning laid it out, and he's been saying, hey, if you guys buy in, because we're bought in, if you buy into what we're preaching, we can do this. We can get there. Right. And
so if a college coach is asking you to buy in, what do we got to teach our kids that are trying to go to college? You know, I mean, we're preparing them for college. We're preparing them for them to be Division 1, 2, 3, NAI, junior college, whatever athlete. They must buy in.
100%. You have to. Right. And sometimes it's tough. And like, you can speak to this. You're still on the team. You're still going through it. Sometimes buying in is hard to do because you know the practices are going to be killer. You know that the conditioning is going to be tough. You don't want to wake up at 6 a.m. to go run the stadium, right? But
well, sometimes you just got to look at it a little different. Like buying in doesn't necessarily mean you have to love it. Like I don't love doing sprints after practice, but guess what? Coach Manning just told me I'm going to run sprints, and I'm not going to tell him no. I'm going to go run those sprints and then do whatever I got to do after. I'm not going to be mad at Manning. I know that he wants what's best for me, and I'm going to go run these sprints.
Right? And we're all chasing the same goal. Manning wants all of us to succeed. We all want to succeed. And he's laying out the path for us to do it. And it's either you can sprint down that path or you can try to walk on the side and kind of hide away. Right? Like today I was working out with Nicaid and he was getting tired. We were doing top and bottom. You know, I was putting that work in on top, you know, showing him what that college wrestling life's like. And at the end of practice, we're doing the conditioning. We were doing the buddy carries, the piggyback carries. I was like, hey, let's be first. Let's be first. If we're going to do conditioning, let's win the conditioning.
You know what's crazy is I just did an exercise with the business mentor, and it's crazy because they're talking about, hey, we're doing an exercise, right? And you must go all in on it. and everyone's a little bit skeptical, right? Like, what do you mean? And it's like, well, here's what's going to happen. One of two things. You either trust the process and you buy in and you go all in on it and you see the results that you have. And I promise you one thing, no one's died yet, right? From this exercise. So like same thing, no one's died. So you have no reason why not to go all in. If you don't go all in, here's what happens, the danger with that. If you don't go all in, then what happens is you're hesitating, you're doubting it, and you're doing the exercise and you don't get the results that you have. And then you're going to stop one day and you're going to look around and you're going to see everyone else that bought in and has the results. And they did have the success. And then what happens is now you feel guilt and you feel like you're ashamed and you feel guilt and you feel like you let everyone down, you let yourself down. So now it's a spiral downhill and it becomes even more difficult on yourself to come out of that. And now you have to live with those regrets and with that shame and with that guilt that you didn't buy in, right? So like, which heart do you want? Do you want to just, it's like having faith in whatever religion that you're in, right? You blindly trust the process and you go all in on it and hope for the best.
Hope for the best every single time. All right. That was another episode of Takedown Tuesday on 93.7 The Ticket. Thank you, Georgie.
Thank you.
2016 Olympian. Dom Tebow, right? My head assistant over there at the best wrestler in Lincoln.
Let's go.
Nebraska wrestler. I'm Ridge Lovett. Thank you, guys.